We have a responsibility as people who come from the United States or from Europe as what somebody termed a media missionary, that we not only have a responsibility to teach people different ways to do independent journalism, but we have a responsibility to teach people safety. So my name is Maria Martin, and I've been a journalist since about 1975. 40 plus years. I started at the first Latino-owned and operated public radio station in the U.S. in Santa Rosa, California. I turned on the radio one day, and for the first time in many years of living in the U.S., because we moved to the U.S. from Mexico when I was almost 6, I heard something that sounded like me, that it was in English and in Spanish. It was something that reflected who I was as a bilingual, bicultural person. So I did a lot of volunteer work, and then it basically, radio became my life. Eventually I went to work at National Public Radio. Out of maybe, 7 story ideas that I had, maybe half of one wouldn't give me a sick feeling at the bottom of my stomach when I finally heard it on the air because of the way it was edited and did not really reflect the reality. So I decided to leave NPR, which was 25 years ago. It was a huge problem, the lack of representation, the lack of Latinos and other people of color in editorial positions. As a teacher of journalists, I think I have respect. It's very hard to be a journalist in Guatemala because the situation here often places people who do independent journalism at risk. So officials can come to your house and say, "What are you doing? You should be careful. We know that your daughter goes to that school." And that's where the freedom of expression tends to self-censor, because then it's more than being afraid for one's life. It's being afraid for your family. The first journalist that had been involved in one of my training workshops and who was killed was named Edward Masvols. He had been a mentor to many journalists, had trained many journalists, was doing coverage of corruption stories, and had received threats over the years. And at one point, sadly, that threat was carried out. The journalists who participated in my training workshops were killed by a Congress member a few weeks ago, actually. Angel Gaona, a journalist on the Atlantic coast of Nicaragua, was Facebook live streaming protest against the Ortega government, and he was killed by a sniper. The men and the women who are on the front lines of covering the themes of corruption, covering narco-trafficking, trying to make this country a democracy. Literally, every day, journalists in Guatemala put their lives on the line to tell the truth. My advice for young women interested in journalism or in the media is to follow your own heart. Sometimes life, gives us sort of these turns, and we don't know, well, this wasn't my career path, And I've never really followed a career path. I call it a causa track. And if you act with integrity and if you treat other people with integrity, then I think eventually you'll have the kind of success that is lasting and satisfying to your heart. I'm just offering my little granito de arena, my little grain of sand.